it fits right in. It shouldn't be called 2001 anymore, but
No. But that was made,
You
what,
had a couple of decades.
Yeah.
67, or when was that made?
yeah, something like that.
99.
Oh, 2001 Space Odyssey?
It was made in the
60s.
60s, wasn't it?
60s.
70.
IMDb, look it up. I bet you it's
early.
67.
Google it.
Google.
Stanley Kubrick.
We're getting
No.
we're getting off.
2001 Space Odyssey.
I think it was made, he and Stanley's,
I
It
thought
was made while IBM was still a significant power.
That's true. It was made when IBM was.
in the 70s.
Because it's a 1-bit shift from IBM. That's where HAL comes from.
is that right?
Yep.
68.
68, I thought it was.
Okay.
I would have said 67.
Stanley
too,
Kubrick, and who's that scientist?
How is a one?
Clark, or what's his
chip,
name?
isn't it?
The
Yeah,
futurist.
it is. That's where that came
That's
from.
where that came from.
That's right.
It came from IBM, huh?
ABM to the next letter.
H and I, and
Ah,
A and B, and M and L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Al.
That's
Richard
right.
C. What's his it? Richard C. Clark, or what? Who was the futurist?
Well, you got Arthur Clarke.
Arthur Clark. Arthur C. Clark.
The guy that lived on what's
Arthur-
the name of that island?
Arthur C. Clark.
In the Indian Ocean.
He lived on the in an island, on an island.
Oh God, what? Oh, Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
He lived in Sri Lanka.
He would make all these predictions about like computers, years ago, and he was spot on a lot of stuff.
Well, the rule on forecasting is forecast early and often.
Yeah, you're gonna even blind squirrels find an acorn.
So
Arthur C. Clarke.
TBS is where that show came from.
Yeah, if you throw so many horseshoes, you're gonna hit it.
I don't know. I've pretty much countered that a few times. Damn steak kept moving around.
Yeah.
That looks like a really easy game.
What, horseshoes or?
Until you step up there with a set of horseshoes.
Ray actually says he is in town and he'll be here, but he's running late. So.
A game that's easier to set up, that's kind of not taking over horseshoes, but cornhole. You get it's easier to deal with.
So I thought that was a camera, because I thought on the newsletter there was some mention of a camera chip. Or was that last week?
That was last week. And
You have to watch the video.
in a future not too far away, I'm going to try to do the Raspberry Pi camera AI thing, but I bought the wrong camera. The 5 megapixel cameras will not work with the Google AI.
Really? I've got about 16 of them.
Oh, I've
sitting at
got a
home.
bunch of them now. I've got 5 of them now, and none of them.
All of my security, pretty much all of my security cameras are the 5 megapixel. Now I didn't get the $4 ones. I paid the $12 or whatever.
You
Come on in.
I hope I'm in the right place.
Probably.
He's got a board.
You got a
He's
thing.
got a board and everything.
So
It
he
looks
must
like
be
he's
in the right space.
Yep.
Not everyone carries around that stuff.
Everywhere I hang out.
Yeah. You're in the right place then.
Yeah. If you don't mind, could you close the doors so we're not too loud?
We are in a library.
We get festive in here.
So
You really like
we apparently have a new person, so let's introduce ourselves today. Would you like to start?
By way of introduction, I brought a flash drive with some of my projects.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know, I also brought the laptop if there isn't a good way to display it.
we have a
We have a router and a Chromecast.
Chromecast. I
So
don't have either one of those on my laptop.
okay, I can do stuff.
So what's your name?
My name is Mike Sullivan.
My name is Mike Lau.
I'm Mike Jones.
This is the mic corner.
The mic corner.
And then Mike Smith down there.
I am Leroy Miller. I am unofficially running it today. The actual president is somewhere else.
Fran Fupa.
Vicente Gonzalez. Have a year here in the club, just learning things and showing stuff.
I'm RLC. I'm visiting from California. And have been here, what, a couple of dozen times
Yeah.
at this point.
So there's a.
Which one of those is you, Leroy?
I'm standing.
Oh, that's you.
These are his pictures.
It's the background.
Soapbox Derby guy, huh?
No, that was it was just a little card that I built.
Okay.
I'm probably got it going too fast.
Well, there's few enough that anybody wants to look at it again, we can always back up.
Yeah. Hey, there's a foot. And some snow.
Okay, the shed on the right is a greenhouse that I built.
Okay. Okay.
And that's a mantle-like constructed, and that's a SketchUp drawing of it.
All right. So we are like construction
Are you
kind of.
selling insulation or removing it?
Stealing it or not?
That was thrown out. They were redoing a building, and I went up and collected it.
Wow.
And then the next picture there is I've wrapped it up in plastic and have taken it up, getting ready to take it up into the attic and insulate the attic. It really made a difference in terms of the sound.
Did it really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't notice the difference in terms of the temperature so much. House is really a lot quieter. And
So,
that's,
so there was no insulation there before?
oh no, it was blown in. It was about 10 inches of blown in, but I've got about 25 inches now. This is a walkboard, and I pre-tensioned the bottom with strapping. And the previous picture was just me gluing it up, all the clamps and stuff.
Okay.
And a guy I worked with asked me one time, how come my garage looks like the bay of the space shuttle?
I've
'Cause you
seen
got a lot of stuff going on.
I've seen garages like that. I've seen worse.
You got stuff hanging from the ceiling, looks like.
Yeah, everywhere.
CDs hanging.
And the table there, my wife found out in the trash, and I cut it down and redid it. We found one of the chairs thrown out for the trash and repaired it. And the next day we drove by, and the other one was out for a yard sale, so we picked it up.
Interesting.
So they got second
So-
life
so-
together.
So you got two chairs from two different places, but they're the same chair.
Average price of $2.50.
Wow.
Can't beat that.
Canoe.
And I had I've got a little hobie cat, and I was up with a friend of mine in Dayton, and I asked the boat repair people, who do you use to do your fiberglassing? And he says, well, we use somebody down in Cincinnati. He says, what kind of boat do you have? I said, a Hobie. And he just kind of stopped. And he said, well, I got 2 spare hulls. And so that's one of them being painted in the backyard. Okay, and that's in preparation for that.
Oh, wow.
All right. I need to come and visit you now.
It was a wedding gift for a friend of my wife. So we don't have it anymore.
Right now it's in another planet.
It's not now on another planet. Is it full size?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see it in front of the house there. And there's,
Oh wow.
okay, and we're
So what is the significance of a police
Oh,
box
art.
as a wedding gift? Okay.
Oh,
There's
art.
gotta be a story there, so.
they're big Doctor Who fans, and all they
Oh.
wanted was a TARDIS. And they were expecting something made out of cardboard or whatever, but this is made out of an old deck that I picked up.
Wow.
So it's
Solid.
It's
Solid?
solid. And,
So you're putting them in their rumpus room or their,
well, actually, that was where they had their wedding reception. So
okay.
We assembled it so that they could take pictures and everybody got a chance to go in and.
Is it bigger on the inside?
No,
Oh,
unfortunately, I
So
tried to
is
design
it-
it that way, but it didn't work.
It didn't
So
work.
is it
Same
disassemblable
size.
so you can move it
Inside and
around?
outside.
Yeah,
It's a design for.
I didn't bring a picture of it loaded in the truck, but the panels are made, each side is 2 panels and then the uprights are separate and then the rings go
So
on
you
the
can
top.
disassemble it into panels and upright.
Yeah.
You'd almost have to do something like that to move it around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because, that pressure treated wood is heavy.
it looks heavy. It just looks heavy.
That's like a masonite, is it, or?
No, it's pressure treated wood.
Really?
It's old decking. I resawed it. And then, that stack that you saw on the cart were the parts that were getting ready to be re-glued.
Do they keep it inside or outside?
They haven't put it up yet. They've had it for 2 years.
Okay.
But I found out that, you can send anything through the laser printer and, including contact paper. And so I printed the sign there on the left
Mm-hmm.
on contact paper and then applied it to a piece of steel.
Okay.
Because I had priced having somebody print that.
Yeah.
They were like $100 for it.
And you said, nope, we're going to do it ourselves.
Yeah. I got 12 cents in the rest of the thing. I'm certainly not going to.
On the side.
That, I like it. Wow.
So who's gonna make a custom gift like a Doctor Who telephone booth?
Oh, cool.
Or come at bike?
Yeah, I got that in the truck out in the parking lot. That's where it lives because I don't have enough room for it anyplace else. Designed that in SketchUp.
Cause it's got 2 in the front and 1 in, is that usually the case with the recumbent?
Not necessarily.
That's what I,
Yeah. The ones that have 2 wheels in the back are less stable. All the research that I could do on this one, this was the best design for stability. And there may be a picture in here of the design process on SketchUp, but it's got Ackerman steering, so the wheels turn.
It's a little camber to it.
Yeah. And so if you go back to the first one with the unpainted forks, this is 2,
Oh, yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
They
I see
are,
it now, yeah.
when they rotate, they change direction and pitch and everything. And instead of having an axle that's just supported at one end,
Mhm.
I made it so that the fork is where all the stress is, not on the axle. And then it's hard to see on this picture, but the crank from the 2 bikes I picked up out of the trash has been rotated, and instead of it going horizontal, it's vertical. And that's what the whole thing rotates on. It is the kingpin.
that's right.
That's Ray.
Hi, Ray.
That's Mike. We're looking at Mike's pictures,
Well, they're just some of my projects.
some of his projects.
Yeah.
He did a hot Doctor Who police booth.
He did a TARDIS.
Is that, what is it? It's TARDIS? That was
It's called
called?
a TARDIS, yeah, full size.
That's cool. You did an Eric.
I did an Eric.
Full size.
We don't know. We don't know what size Eric actually is. There's a whole bunch of bricks.
Yeah, the picture before then was a surround for a laundry area in my stepson's condo. A friend of mine had thrown out a hot tub, and this was the surround on the hot tub.
Oh, okay.
And so it made a real nice thing.
Yeah.
For the laundry area.
It's a good idea. Good reuse of whatever.
And this is a backyard project. I picked up the cast iron ends and then the leftovers from the TARDIS I've cut those to shape and fit in on that.
Now, what is a TARDIS? Is it the phone booth?
The phone
It's
booth
the phone
from
booth.
But it's
the,
Doctor Who, they
Doctor
call
Who.
it a TARDIS?
It's,
Yeah,
it's
his-
time and
Okay,
relative
it's an acronym.
dimension in space.
no, it's
Isn't that what it stands for? Time,
Everything.
time and relative dimensions in space.
it's this thing where he goes in the door and it has like spatial compression and it's his entire spaceship
It's-
and everything
it's
inside. It's like
bigger on the
little
inside.
booth.
in
It's
the
bigger
booth,
on the inside.
and it's huge. It's his workshop, everything.
When it started out, it was the cheesiest British science fiction.
It's been around forever, hasn't it?
Oh yeah,
50s.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Been remade.
the reason it's a phone booth is because it got stuck. It ended up landing in Britain and its chameleon field blew up and it got stuck as a phone booth. And so it's been a phone booth ever since. And I know way too much about Doctor Who.
Well, it was a book
second
long
that.
before it was a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is just, especially the one, I grew up watching Tom Baker as Doctor Who, and
The old ones on PBS.
yeah, he's still one of my favorite Doctor Who's. So
Uh,
Now, what was that?
I don't know.
You gotta have to back up.
I'm
more.
sorry. I'm just.
It's okay. The bricks are for a patio, and
Okay.
I tried to buy some half pavers,
Oh, that okay. I see where we're going.
so I couldn't find any. I found some in Washington State, but I'm not driving to Washington State for pavers. And I tried cutting them in half, and I needed 300 of them, and there's no way I'm going to cut 300 bricks in half. So I made this next thing.
This thing.
That is a brick press.
Yeah. That
And
thing.
it's got halation. It's got an arm that's like 5 feet tall, and then a cam action on it. And best I can tell, it develops about 1,200 pounds per square inch.
You just
Then what do you
breaking
do,
the
fire
brick
'em?
off?
No, I'm actually, a friend of mine is quality control for a precast concrete company.
Okay.
And so we're doing real dry concrete and pressing it into the half paper sizes.
Oh, so this does not get fired at all. These are,
These are regular concrete. And that's just
Pantry.
pantry doors. And my wife and I put the marble down on the hearth there. Then our house caught on fire. And all of that was, the fireplace and everything had to come out. So all of that was
For naught.
destroyed. Then that's the ceiling in my downstairs bathroom.
That is just an interesting picture.
It is.
so what's above that ceiling?
Airspace for the fan.
All mirror.
Yes, it is all mirrored. And the center round thing is a convex. That was in a plastic foam frame.
That's
Oh,
just,
so this is just a mirror. We're not looking through.
Not looking through it.
We're
That's
looking
just-
at
that's mirror.
We're
reflections.
looking.
The flash is his camera.
Yeah.
you're looking up.
I got it.
Okay, and that's trusses that are built for the storage shed in the back. That's a composter.
Oh, go forward. There we go.
Okay, that's my bike trailer.
That's a big rock.
Yep. And it got that far, and then I realized it's not going over that aluminum threshold. So it made it around the house.
Wow, that is a big rock.
Where were you going with it?
Backyard. Built a wall out of large stones. This is my wife's sister's house needed some furniture, so I built a table. Had tempered glass laying around for something.
Neat.
That's another
Yeah.
one that goes with it. And that's,
And that is not IKEA put together furniture.
no.
Looks like a gun cabinet.
It was an armoire for her TV. It's got big wheels underneath so you can move it around. That's
Reclaimed shutters.
yep, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, you won't
Cat-
need armoires for TVs anymore.
No,
Cat toys.
cat toy. Her cats were too fat. We found a piano that was thrown out from the trash, and that mahogany top there is the top of the piano, and then the cedar chest underneath built out of scrap from a waterbed.
Neat. Oh, and that looks like a air rocket,
It's a water rocket.
water rocket. Okay.
And that's an apothecary that the TV's sitting on.
Nice cedar.
Yeah.
That's all trash fine stuff. That's a camping kitchen.
Okay. Like in the back of a pickup truck or something?
Yeah, it's really designed to sit on a picnic table. The front folds down.
Okay.
And then the top folds up,
Okay.
so you can get to everything.
I've seen some like that were made into like the back of pickup trucks.
Yeah, that was portable. It's got handles on the side. Now, this is because raised panels expand and contract with the weather. You want to stain them and finish them before you assemble the project. That way it doesn't leave a ring around the edge. So this is we don't have CDs anymore. All of our music is on the computer, and the amplifier and computer are inside that.
Mhm.
And I think there's a picture of that.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and so they're not drawers, they fold down to where you can get to everything. The bottom is a drawer.
So if you didn't know that that's what you were looking at, you would not know that that was what you were looking at. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Thanks, Leroy. That really clarified things.
Hey, leave it up to me to make that perfectly crystal clear.
Yeah, I got tired of the floor in my house flexing and popping the grout out in the downstairs bathroom. Up above is where the mirrors that
Okay.
you asked about earlier. So I am sitting on the floor, and there's a hole in the floor that my legs are sticking down into the basement. And I made the whole section from side to side and from the center support to the front foundation solid 2x4s, and then cut away the floor joist and poured concrete in there and reinforced it, and it does not flex anymore. And that's a shed that I helped my neighbor build. And this is the setup for milling the front OG on a bar that I built for a guy. And that's a radial arm saw, unbolted and turned around, sticking out the back of the cabinet. And then the bed rails that are there have roller skate bearings on them. And then everything is clamped together. Nothing is welded. It's just temporary. We only used it a day and a half to mill the front of the bar.
Oh, yeah, neat.
How long was the bar?
I think it's about 12 feet. There should be a picture of it in there.
There it is.
Yep. And it's hard to see that OG front on it. This is an IKEA butcher block.
What does OG stand for?
It's
shape
a
around
Roman.
there.
It's a shape.
Okay.
One part is concave and the other part is convex.
Okay.
And I figured out that if we cut it at a 45-degree angle and took the top part and slid it underneath, then we could make the front edge twice the
Okay, I
thickness.
see.
See it?
Yeah, so it curves
Yeah,
Yeah, you
from
can,
the bottom and the top.
and that was cut, I don't have a 4-inch router yet, or shaper or anything, so we cut that on the, rolling it back and forth on those roller skate bearings with the radial arm saw.
Wow.
that's,
Painful.
Looks solid.
And the picture that I said was in SketchUp of the fireplace mantle, that is after the fire. And my wife and I found a box of marble at Home Depot that they were getting ready to discount. I think we paid like $4 for the box of it. And we laid it out on the floor and kind of pattern matched it. So those are really 1 foot by 1 foot pieces, but if you look at it real closely, they look like they all match. And then the fireplace surround the mantle and stuff. The neighbor across the street was tearing out his floor. That's his oak floor.
wow.
It
Oh,
got
okay.
recycled. And that's the apothecary for the TV upstairs.
And then we're back to the stained glass.
Yeah, it's my sister wanted the top panel on all of her windows in her house to have stained glass. The best I could do was the plastic stuff. But anyway, I brought those just by way of introducing myself.
Very nice.
Impressed by the bicycle.
I was most impressed with the TARS.
I can tell his eyes were like popping out.
What do I know? I'm just here.
You'll feel in your tiny house.
If it was only bigger on the inside, it would be perfect.
That'd be a way to increase your square feet in your house.
What's that board that you brought? Is that a special project thing or?
Well, I got two things here. Let me talk about this first. This is synthetic sinew. And if you wrap it around stuff and then you heat it, it'll shrink down. And I brought it if anybody wants it.
I'm sure we can find a use for something that's I don't want to take
You don't want to touch
I
it.
don't want to take all of it
I just
because
wanted,
I'm not real sure what I would do
I wanted
with
to
it
take it
yet.
out so people can look at it, touch it.
So is it like heat shrink tubing?
No.
I don't know.
It's a 2-liter pop bottle.
2-liter pop bottle.
I'm not
So how
not
do
sure
you
what I.
get from a 2-liter pop bottle to this?
How did it come that way?
No, how do you get from that 2-liter pop bottle
To a shrink.
to this?
I found out a long time ago that 2 liters are polyester, and if you heat them, they'll shrink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I found on the internet that you can make a little cutter and just,
So you do a spiral shave?
and it takes about a minute a piece.
Now you're just making a mess.
I'll rewind it. Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna make a mess, but I am.
So you wrap this around something and you just heat it and it shrinks.
Yeah.
Shrinks around the shape.
If you tie the knot so that the end of it is underneath.
Seal in.
Yeah, and one of these years, I'm gonna build a kayak, skin on frame.
Seal it all in.
This will allow me to take the members and take them together and then heat them up.
So like kind of skin, some kind of leather.
I'm gonna take some of this, but I'm not real sure what I'm gonna do with it yet.
Well,
It
You'll
sounds
figure out
interesting.
something.
It sounds interesting.
I had
You're
all
MacGyver
these 2
something.
liters that my wife was wanting me to clean out of the kitchen, so I just did this afternoon.
And make baskets.
Well, you just made the strips this afternoon?
Yeah.
Wrap
Yeah,
Eric
it only took about a
around
minute.
it.
And there must have been paint or something.
That's the label.
Label
of
that
I
the
will make
litter.
the basket.
Oh, the label.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like use a plant.
So that's
Yeah.
one thickness
Yeah.
of the bottle? That's one thickness
Use
of the bottle?
anything.
You're not skiving
Good
this,
idea.
you're just cutting a strip.
I'm just cutting
Spiral
a
cutting.
helix
Yeah, okay.
out of it. There's a lot of them on the internet, but I've just got a dowel that the top fits over, and I cut the bottom out and start it and grab it with a pair of pliers, and there's 25 or 30 feet that you get out of it. These are all 1/4 inch or just about, but the little cutter tool I've got will make different thicknesses depending on how deep the groove is.
Now, this is something you built, or is this a commercial product?
Oh, it's just scrap.
DIY.
No.
The device that he made it as a DIY, do-it-yourself
Okay.
spiral cutter.
Yeah, it's just a razor blade screwed onto a stick, and the depth of the cut.
I'll figure out something.
Oh, sure you will. He's already thinking of stuff.
We have a lot of-
What else you got here? What's the circuit board?
For the kids.
Okay,
A lot of stuff.
well, I'm pretty good with some stuff, but all of my electrical engineer friends are like in communications and stuff.
Mhm.
This is a controller for a 3-phase motor with a feedback loop on RPM.
Yep.
It's 110 volt input that gets converted in this board to 3-phase.
The treadmill.
So it's an inverter, it's a 3-phase inverter.
I don't know what it is because this isn't an area I know anything about.
Was it intended for a treadmill?
No, it's out of a front-loading washing machine. All of the circuitry on the board takes care of, go ahead, takes care of like the wax motor for locking the front door,
Yeah.
water, detergent bins. What happened on this washer is an underwire off of a bra got through the hole, got through the tubing, and got in there and jammed the pump for getting the liquid out. So it's not mine. It was out for the trash.
Not your bra or not your?
Good question.
A little bit of both.
Not my bra and not my washer. But with the water still in there, the sensor said, don't open the door. And so the front door is locked with clothing in there, and they didn't have any way of getting it out. So they just carted everything out, including the clothing, and put it on the curb. And it froze. And those suckers are heavy. There's a big chunk of concrete in there and everything. So I just took a crowbar and broke it open, and got all the stuff out. But the sensors for the water pressure and the detergent and the relays for opening it up, all of that feeds into another board. And that's purpose built. There's no way in the world you could ever look at that and see what it was supposed to do. And I don't know whether any of the stuff is of any value. But from that board to here are these 5 pins. That's all that does to control this circuitry. It controls the speed of the motor, and the direction. I would like to be able to take the 3 horsepower motor that is in there and control it for either a lathe motor or a drill press motor. And I have the motor, it's out in the truck, I didn't bring it in, but its connection is right here, and it's 3 phases and a feedback loop. So this is an area I didn't know whether anybody here had played with or done any work on or had any insight into.
So it's a 3-phase motor,
Mm-hmm.
Presumably 60 hertz.
Well, the frequency, best I can remember from looking at that, the frequency of the input is what determines the speed.
That's correct. That's the way a 3-phase motor works.
Okay.
For example, in a Tesla automobile, it runs on a 3-phase motor instead of 3-phase variable frequency inverter, and by changing the frequency of the inverter, you change the speed of the automobile. So what is the question you want answered about this?
I want to be able to, there are 2 options in my mind.
Yeah.
One, figure out how to use this power supply by building a board that utilizes,
That talks to it.
Thank you. Short of that, build a power supply utilizing these components, because everything that's needed to do that
It was right there, yeah.
is right there.
And this is
And-
driving you said a 3 horsepower motor?
It's out of the washer. And by the way,
That's a big washer motor, I can tell you.
I really appreciate being able to talk to someone who understands exactly what I'm trying to get to. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, one of the advantages of using a 3-phase motor over single-phase motor is that the torque curve is relatively uniform, because you don't have any zero crossings. You know, your zero crossings overlap, so you never have zero current or zero voltage. Whereas in single phase, every 180 degrees, you got one or the other. So 3-phase motors, and that's the reason I use them on automobiles also, give you a nice, relatively smooth torque curve. Without, going at it with a meter and a scope, it'd be very hard to reverse engineer this thing, but it's a power supply. It's not that complicated. It's power supply and inverter, I would guess. It's not that complicated electronically. The catch is I see at least one flat pack chip in there. Are there
2.
Are there 2? Where's the
2
other?
majors.
Then
One here, one here.
all the
yes.
functionality is inside this board of the machine, right? Everything is in the firmware, in the software inside this microcontroller.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
another board.
You can specify speed and direction from outside the board. It's in the function of the.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the speed and the rotation is driven from the other purpose-built board.
Another controller board.
Yes, and it's only connected to this via this.
But usually the other board used to be an interface, just an interface for display and buttons.
Yeah.
And have no functionality at all. Just take commands from you and show you how it's going on in this board, in the machine.
Well, it also takes commands from water level, detergent.
So it's got
But
sensors. There's
sensors.
sensors, yeah.
None of which I care.
But our inputs is a board with all the inputs, sensors and buttons.
Yeah.
And the output is a display.
And the output coming to this
Yeah.
is.
You got 5 lines there?
Can I see it right?
Wait a minute.
It's a reverse engineering. Try to understand how.
Somebody may have already reversed engineered it.
Yeah,
That's-
the first thing you do is Google it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the part
Definitely.
numbers and Google it.
Yeah, you know, all I've been able to find is somebody who says, oh, this is how you change the motor.
Yeah.
This is how you change the
Yeah, that's,
board.
that's pretty normal. You've got to kind of
Yeah,
do some
well,
funky
it's
extra searching.
It's the military approach to thing. Something's wrong, you pull this module and put a new one in, that kind of a thing.
And if you're paying a repairman, it makes economic sense to do that, but I work cheap.
In most cases, a repairman doesn't even know how to actuate and understand
They
this
just
board.
change parts.
He's just gonna change it.
He's just going to pull the
My
part.
brother-in-law is a repairman.
He's just going to pull the part and put
He's
a
not
new
gonna
part in
repair
there.
this board. He's going to take this out.
Yep.
Dump
Yeah,
it and grab another.
Very few techs these days can do board level troubleshooting.
Yeah, when I was in the service, we were trained to do board level, but we were supposed to send all our boards up to the tender. We weren't supposed to do any of it.
Very inefficient to have them do board level.
Yeah, it was crazy. Why train you to do it if you're just going to send it to somebody else
Probably
to do it?
Required by some regulation.
Probably.
Field
Just-
manual
You're not
number.
gonna use it, but you need to
You
understand.
need to know this, but you'll
You'll
never
never
do
use
it.
it. It's not gonna be utilized.
You'll
You
never
are
do
certain that this thing is fully functional?
No.
No.
it.
No.
All right.
But I found why the washer failed, and that was the underwire had gotten through the,
Yeah, the motor was
So-
jammed, basically.
So the
Yeah, the
sense,
pump was jammed, the motor wasn't.
the sensor just said, "Don't open the
Oh, it
door."
got into the pump.
got into the
It
pump.
didn't get it into the.
No.
Okay.
The water
Right.
level sensor said, "You've still got water in here. Don't open the door."
Don't open the door.
What kind of value does your project have? Your reasoning for doing this?
Just because.
Because he can.
Because you can?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Uh,
it's there.
The other night, I was looking on Craigslist, and I found a little lathe in Oregonia, and the price had come down $85. So I said, well, I don't know whether that's a good price or not.
You
So
can
I
see the
looked
3 channel
on
drivers there.
eBay, and I found a Grizzly lathe for $100. And I jumped on that and was immediately auto outbid. And so it's going for $750.
That Jim uses for
I
his
don't-
face motor.
Yeah.
It's a long
And
answer to your
the
question.
Drivers
Mhm.
in the gates.
I don't
of
need
this
a
stuff.
lathe.
You need to know.
If I could have gotten
Electronics,
the Grizzly for
So
$100.
what are those
I would've
high
done
power
it.
You use
fast?
just
Never
the
gonna
power
get it.
supply and the drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what are those things? Do you think those are high power FETs
But-
there?
No,
Maybe
those are
operators,
opto interrupters. They're
isolators, you know?
What's
isolated.
the part-
Optical
What's the,
isolator.
what's the part
So-
number on?
Tell me about this
What's
power
that?
supply.
What is the part number stamped on those drivers?
No, I
Three
cannot-
opto isolators
Uh,
from your
I
5
got
pin
my reading
in.
glasses on here.
I'm guessing one of them's ground, one of them's in a navel, and
Let me take a
uh,
picture.
the other 3 are functions. Okay, So-
I wanted to look up a couple of those
I
chips.
mean, you guys disagreeing at
See
all?
what some of those are.
Okay,
They're probably
it's-
custom
just-
chips.
so you get,
Be
ground,
surprised what
navel,
you can find just by.
functions.
This is true.
Those functions are probably gonna be, forward and reverse, run high, run low. So,
Because the speed is infinitely variable from 50 to like
Okay.
2,000.
then either you're optically isolating a communication, that you're never gonna get that
120
around.
friends of the same
Okay, because
promotion
trying to
talking
backtrack that
every day
communication,
for WhatsApp.
you would have to have a functional control board,
Hundred of
and then an
messages.
oscilloscope, and
All the
understanding
time.
what you're watching
I turn
happen.
off because it's impossible
Okay.
to.
If it was simple functions, that's
Yes.
one thing that, to try to identify which one of these is the PWM channel,
That's
which
it.
one, if it's an analog channel,
Rotate and
you're
cut.
screwed. Okay? You're really better off. I mean, if it was a functioning controller and you could watch what it was doing and then simulate what it was doing with a different controller. Okay, then I could take an Arduino and make this thing work. Okay, and I wouldn't have to worry about this function-based controller.
But you don't know what the speed control input is.
Yeah, you don't know what the control of it. The control of it could be CAN bus, it could be analog, PWM, discrete. You never know. So it's really, you would start looking up,
Yeah,
see what you find. see if there's any repair
Ray's
stuff.
absolutely right. It's an opto isolator.
What was the part number on?
It's an isolator
I got
to
a very
check
speed delta.
switches or anything outside the board.
No, but what are?
You would be better
you
off
said
It's
the
an
options.
If you know what kind of motor it is, buy a
615A-2.
variable frequency drive.
That's the opto isolator?
It will drive it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I
DC
have
input
one
translator
value.
out-
It's
output
a variable
opto
frequency
coupler.
drive controller.
It's like
Might cost
optical barrier.
$250. And
It's,
if you're not into that, then yeah.
All the projects
cheap.
that you saw up there,
they're 21
I
cents a
don't
piece.
$350 combined
Yeah.
on all of them.
They're cheap.
And so there's different.
That's in
costs
unit
for
quantity,
different projects.
probably.
I don't know. I didn't really look.
And it's not because I needed the controller.
That's the
or
controller.
It's the challenge.
Yeah.
But
Challenge is
the
finding something to do.
software is
Okay.
here.
This is
It's
the one that
there,
I was
it's a
curious
challenge.
about.
You can receive
All
the
right.
command, go to
And
the
if I can
cycle
learn
number
how to do it,
5
Right.
and everything.
So
goes
be it.
Inside this.
Does your,
I
does
had
your main
one
control
of
head
these
still
though
work?
that,
The-
it was
Because
switched.
everything was
So the
frozen
other,
out.
the other board
And
was
I
just
didn't
switching
discover.
It
logic
probably
on and off.
won't
But
tell the motor to
volume
do
is
anything
a
because all the
Yeah.
other sensors are damaged.
Yeah, and
communicate with
I-
us, but
I
it's
looked up-
only signals.
Right.
like on the water control.
Something
Here's
like
the
that.
best part of everything you brought in.
Yeah.
The wire. That's
Well,
it.
Information.
I don't mean
Yeah, I'm
to
with you.
dishearten you or
I hear
anything.
you.
Don't
but
poo-poo
The one
your
I had
part.
is just all
It's
logic.
just, it would take
On and
so
off.
much work to
No,
try
but
to figure out
depending
how
on
that.
what's
running.
happening there.
There's
Maybe
two
display, graphic
processors
displays,
on
or
there.
depending on
I
the
mean, I'm
complexity
thinking
of
one
the-
of them is really a
Let's see
processor.
if
The
we
other one
can
might
figure
just be
out what
memory.
this
Okay.
is.
But if it's two
Do you have any idea
processors,
what the logic level is?
It's like a Rubik's Cube. It'd take you forever to.
Is it 12 volt or?
but
Oh, well.
So
I
if you
just-
were,
Yeah.
if you were going to build a controller,
that's a whole different ball of wax. And
Is that
it's really
Elux?
different.
Elux?
Maybe a
You know,
custom
and
printing.
I think on the level that you're asking
That's a
about,
custom board.
you might as well
Used to be
just start looking on Google for how to build
Yeah.
three-phase amplifier,
Yeah.
full, you know, driver.
because I was guessing that all of the components I would need
Everything he said.
would be.
There's no data sheets on
Oh,
this.
sorry.
But you guys are expanding my world.
Yeah, most of
That's
it.
good.
He always throws in a term or two. It's like,
You amaze me. I'm
TI chip.
one of your groupies.
It doesn't say what it is.
It's a lot to actually build a three-phase controller and then expect
It's
it
gate
to work
logic.
reliably. I
It's
mean, if
a,
it's something like, hey,
Yeah.
I got it to work
You're talking
once,
about
hey, I'm done.
T squared L?
That's different. But if you're
This-
this is like,
this
hey, I want this to work every
is
time.
a, it's a field programmable gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FPGA.
I hate
Yeah.
to say buy one.
But it could have anything in it.
It could have anything.
They could burn any kind of a program in there.
Yeah, I've got a couple broken.
Yeah.
You know, one of them has.
We'll
you know,
never
a
figure
broken
out what
adjustment head
that
on it.
actually is.
The other's got a broken motor. That's what I'm like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
gonna put a
reverse
motor on one,
engineering
the other.
gotta be a real
And
challenge.
I do need a variable speed. I love that variable speed on it. But I don't even know what kind
There's
of
no
motor
way
right
to-
now. It could be a DC,
Not
it could be
way
an
to-
AC. I don't know. I'm
It's
sure it's
just
not
not.
3 days.
I'm done.
Uh,
If it's a,
I've done
AC?
did what I can do.
I'll see if I can get an SCR, this silicon controlled rectifier.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
If it's DC,
That's what
I'll
they
probably
usually
Can you pull
program
apart
it.
Yeah.
Can you see the part number on these?
and it's a $15 controller.
Oh, what?
The ones that are
I'm
clamped
guessing
with heat
bands
sink.
are solo tech.
Not easily, no.
It's just, it's.
I don't know, does the heat sink come
Oh,
off of that?
blades are
with
pretty
the
low tech.
screwdriver?
Yeah.
That heat,
Maybe the rectifier, this one.
Yeah.
that heat sink has a screw, but in order to get to that screw, you have to.
The first one, maybe the rectifier, of the DC powers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a 4-pin.
What are the other three?
4-pin device,
yeah.
maybe a rectifier.
So you like it, didn't you?
Yeah, the other,
You
the
see power.
other,
learn a lot.
It's
Yeah.
probably a bridge rectifier.
All right.
the
How's
other three are
Eric?
trans,
And then you have the
Three pin.
capacitors.
How did
to
Eric
have a
turn
DC
out?
power.
Yeah,
didn't-
let's.
We didn't run Eric yet.
I had started, but then I got sidetracked.
I'm curious to how it's built. How's it
The
look?
meeting took a whole different turn. That's okay though.
We're going.
But it doesn't
Well,
work.
I apologize. I didn't mean to hijack.
It looks nice.
Use
That's
a
the important
flashlight
part to
inside.
me.
And they said Eric
Okay.
is inspired by Hal.
Oh, okay.
It's an
Probably inspired.
Probably.
Maybe.
I show
All right.
show me.
There's the 4 basic components that I used to make this thing. So it's got the WS2812 board,
Yeah.
a D1 mini controller. That's also a D1 mini. I don't know why it's on
No,
there. There's 3 basic things, and
Plus
And-
the optics.
and then the lens, which I'm pretty sure was for a car.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm not.
So you're gonna demo this? Or?
Yes. I'm going to demo it. But I thought it was neat to show
Oh,
my
there we
first
go.
version, the cardboard box area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's corrugated cardboard. You got
Cardboard box area.
Corrugated Eric.
And then we have
A plug.
Rabbit Laser USA. Thank you, Ray. I didn't bring an extension cord, so we're just gonna have to kind of.
So you took pictures as you went?
I tried to take some pictures as I went.
Okay.
You
glued it all together?
I glued it together. I
glue or
I
wood glue?
painted it first, and then I used wood glue.
Okay.
except for the lid.
Except for I can still get into it if I need to change something.
Sweet.
I did end up knocking a thing out for the cord because my battery was too large to go in there.
Cool. Okay.
Wasn't. The next time we do this, we'll remember to put an extra hole in the back.
The laser's another hole.
So
Always think we can do.
I made several different sketches for this. I gotta get it connected to our network. I should have plugged this in a long time ago. Come on.
So you can drive that off your USB out of your laptop?
Yeah, it doesn't take that much.
No, you got at least a half an amp.
No.
Yeah, the thing he's using sketches is what they-
I actually,
Yeah,
the sketch that I'm going to show is actually IFTTT, using Google Home or Google Assistant, and I can change the color of the LED like that. Hopefully it works.
You got a speaker in there for some music as well?
I don't yet. I want to put some sound effects in
Okay.
because Eric, the Eric talks, the thing talks. Usually I have to restart it here. So
you're starting the sketch now?
yeah, it should start.
It was lit a minute ago. Wasn't doing anything. It was lit.
Did it light?
Not yet.
So this was inspired from the show People of Earth, which the original Eric is that thing there.
Yep.
Okay, so it's green.
That's green.
So
That's cool.
he had 3 different colors in the show. He had green, red, and blue. Really, really sophisticated, right? Blue seemed to be his normal everyday color.
Alien technology.
Blue was his normal color. Red was when he was mad or angry, and green was when he was in scanning mode, scanning various objects around him.
Okay. So just the green just turned off.
Green just turned off. I don't know why green just turned off.
Okay, so
Okay.
continue. I know at least the green light turns on.
So, okay, Google. Oh, come on. Actually work this time. Okay, Google. Eric angry mode. Why aren't we working?
Angry mode engaged.
Angry mode is off.
Angry mode is off.
He ain't angry.
He ain't working.
Not angry today.
I don't know why he's not connected. He says he's connected.
You get the green at work. Got one of them. Scanning mode.
Let's try to reset it.
You put an initial sequence to know that.
Yes.
Now, the USB is just power supply, right?
USB is just power, yeah. It's all right. I've got a video of it actually working. So, because I know how the library is.
Yeah.
Hey, we got red.
Oh,
Finally
good,
came
we
on
got
now.
red.
Okay, angry mode.
Angry mode.
It just takes a while for him to work up his head of steam.
That's right.
Okay, Google.
Not too easy.
Eric, happy mode.
Less angry.
Yeah, dim down.
Happy mode engaged.
It's thinking.
The red just.
It dimmed.
dimmer.
It's
There
There
went
it
the
is.
blue.
There we go.
happy mode.
So there's a time delay.
There shouldn't be,
It's
but
It's
interplanetary.
Wi-Fi.
it's
Library Wi-Fi.
the library. It really is.
How do
So
you
it's
try?
base
How do you dim that
communication
light?
latency.
Oh yeah, the white thing, the white one. Well, it used to turn that off.
Yeah.
So yes, I have it actually set to kind of pulsate the LED while it's just sitting. It sort of works. It sort of does what I want. Okay, Google. Eric, party mode.
Party mode engaged.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
he's flamboyant. He's
Yeah,
going all over.
no. He's doing more than this television show one does. He's in the
This
party
is,
mode.
This is practically disco.
Yeah.
mode here.
That's right.
Okay, Google. Eric, black mode.
Black mode engaged.
Now, party mode, the way party mode works, it has to finish partying before it
Okay.
does something else.
Oh, we got your priorities right.
Black mode. In
Black
the show,
mode is off.
yeah, black mode is basically off. In the show, he goes and he charges. He floats and he goes and he sits on his charger. And when he sits on his charger, everything goes off. So that's black mode. Okay, Google. Eric, scanner mode.
Scanner mode engaged.
So that I set that
green.
up with IFTTT and
It makes Gray's phone go
Yeah.
There you go.
IFTTT and it's green. Should be green.
Checking.
So another sketch I did was with using MQTTT and the cheer lights project. Cheer lights, you tweet a color with the hashtag cheer lights, and it synchronizes all the lights around the world to that particular color. I actually kind of like it a little bit better. I didn't bring the library. I can't load the sketch, but it actually has like a breathing kind of effect that actually is very, very smooth, and it actually looks like it's breathing the way you would think that something would breathe, not pulsating like, like it's straining to do something. The reason why that this one kind of staggers, and the service I'm using to get the updates from Google. If I read it too quickly, it crashes the processor. So I have to slow it down. So I'm trying to do that without using any delays, but it's very hard to get the timing just right for that. And
So there's a latency problem.
there's a latency problem in there. And the sketch that's currently running also causes the watchdog timer to fail every
So have you published the
every half
sketches,
hour.
or
Yeah,
put them on
GitHub.
GitHub?
They're on GitHub. But the watchdog timer, it causes the watchdog timer to fail, even though I tell it to feed the watchdog timer. So I don't know what's going on there. But I've got a video of maybe I've got a video. Ray just wants the laser. I used a little piece of tissue paper that Jim suggested.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
It looks
does.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The paper actually pushed itself into the thing, and it actually caused it to look better. When I just had it sitting on the back like that.
So you scraped the entire back of it off,
No,
or just the one little section?
there's nothing. The hole in the back of that is huge.
Okay.
Square.
It's
a
a-
big letter, no?
Yeah, it was meant for like a big, bright white LED.
Yeah. It looks like you had just scratched it though.
No, that was the mirror that I tried.
Yeah. Okay.
And yes, the mirror I just scratched. The LED and the tissue paper actually push themselves into the hole, so they're actually inside the bezel of the thing now, and it looks great. I'm not going to worry about that. So near the end of this video, hopefully it plays. You know the library doesn't like videos either. But near the end of this video, you can see the pulsating effect. This kind of flashy thingy, that was done, I used that same thing in the Halloween project. And basically the sketch is the same as the Halloween project. I just started modifying it slightly for this use. I didn't really like how it flashed so much. It looks good for Halloween, but not so much for this. And there it is. Breathe. And there you saw it pretty much seamlessly switch from blue to red and still continue to breathe.
What's the red is reflecting back off or something?
Each one of the colors has a slightly different, it looks slightly different, which is also great. I mean, it's probably the way it's reflecting off of that tissue paper that's in there. So, I mean, I really couldn't have made a good box without Ray's help. I really couldn't. And Ray really designed the box.
He tried to pull a website automated boxing program, and he didn't take into effect the thickness of the material, and it just wasn't going to work right. So what he thought was going to be like a 2-minute rework of the DXF file, the drawing file, ended up being, I don't know how many minutes. I just redrew the whole thing.
The actual laser time was like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of pictures. I published this up on GitHub or Instructables and GitHub. And I took a lot of pictures of just what I did to put it together. It really, the glue I bought was cheap, 99-cent glue, and it dried fast. It was like amazingly fast. And I didn't even use clamps or anything. I just held it together, and it was good. Because I didn't have any of that fancy stuff like that.
I'm glad that we took the time to measure everything out in laser.
Yeah, it worked good.
The little silver bezel fits great.
Yep.
And I think it matches your picture that we started off with Eric.
If you look at the two next to each other, which is down here, there's my Eric is on the left. Their Eric is center. It's very, very close. It's close enough that I'm going, yeah, I like it.
Like family, maybe.
Family.
Yeah, they're cousins.
Relatives.
So the show's funny. Everybody should watch it, but their season 2 ended, and I guess they're waiting for season 3 now. It's just hilarious. It's about alien abduction, and the aliens are pretty much idiots, and the people that have been abducted are pretty much idiots, and everybody has fun.
It's called People of Earth.
Yeah, it's called People of Earth. Season 2 started with Eric taking over the mission project from the aliens because the people the other supervisors realized that they were idiots or something, so they sent a new supervisor down to take over the mission. He's Supervisor Eric. They don't like him, but I thought he was cool.
Is that on Netflix or?
It's a TBS.
No, I checked
It's a TBS program, and I don't know where it's at. So I guess the TBS app. So that's it. That's what I got. We've got roughly 15, 20 minutes.
The castellation design was just hand design.
The edge.
Yeah, the castellation.
Yeah, well, I did it in AutoCAD draft site,
But
and I did it by
you just
hand.
You already have one.
Oh, I've done it so many times. Being able to do
You
the
just
integrated
cut and
edges.
paste the design.
Not quite. We actually went and we looked at all the different materials that I had in the warehouse,
Yeah.
and we found something that looked like, hey, we could probably intertwine this good. It was strong enough. Okay, so we measured how thick it was, so that you could get the edges to look right. And knowing how thick it was, and we had enough material to make 5-inch sections, we went back to the desk and just started doing the edges.
He had already made a couple of smaller boxes, and
Yeah, I've done the edges and boxes so many times. It was pretty easy.
Why'd you use wood and not your plastic stuff?
He wanted to be able to glue it together easily with wood glue and to spray paint it. I offered to do it in the high impact polystyrene, but 5-inch on a polystyrene, it doesn't glue together well.
Oh, it doesn't go together.
yeah.
Well, can you stick that stuff
I-
together with like acetone or whatever? Or
Acetone will melt it just a little bit, but you're really better off with an acrylic type glue.
I was actually quite happy that Ray suggested wood after it came together. After I got it, I was a little skeptical at first.
well, what
but
is this, like a little plywood panel?
Yeah,
it's just
5 millimeter, just under 5 millimeter plywood. It's junk plywood,
What is it, like
like glue on.
3 laminates or?
It's a veneer, crap veneer.
you might be able to tell what it is.
It's glue on. It's the junk stuff.
It's not.
Oh, yeah, okay.
$7 for 4-way sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fantastic, but it works
This is
really,
nice for doing
really
little
good.
projects
Nice and
like this.
rigid.
Especially if you can sand it, use a
didn't-
wood
I didn't-
filler and paint it.
I didn't sand it or anything. I just put it together, and I still think it looks.
Yeah.
I marked it all on the inside.
If you had to cut it with a bandsaw or scroll saw or something, it wouldn't look nearly as nice.
Yeah.
The laser is really what helps you do this stuff so easily.
So
Without the laser, there's no way I could have done this. There's just no way.
Yes.
If anybody else wants to see Eric, I'll pass Eric around.
My turn, before we run out of time.
Yeah,
So
your
this
turn, your
is the
turn.
wider
You see
wheelbase.
the wheel a lot.
Okay, so last week I brought in this, and this is one I've been working on for a couple weeks, and myself and Leroy had thrown together a bunch of ideas, and I sat down at the CAD station and just started working on it. And this went through 5 different revisions before we got to this point. I mean, revisions that took like 2 days. Okay, this is only the 3rd one that actually got built, but it's still a good little robot. Ultrasonic servo, pen up and down, speaker, motor control, analog inputs, Bluetooth, whiskers. It's a good little robot. It's designed to have a whole bunch of different kinds of batteries that can fit in here. Unfortunately, the standard battery is not one of those that will actually fit in there. So,
Now this one looks like it's got a wider wheelbase again.
well, the reason we looked at this one, and you can see how flimsy this LCD is, because the LCD being on there was an afterthought.
Yeah.
It was never designed to actually have the LCD on there. And then it's like, hey, let's add it. Yeah, okay, well, great. So
And then it never really was great.
it just doesn't look. I mean, it doesn't look stable.
Sullivan, this is his first meeting.
So we went back to the drawing board, and the key feature of this robot, which is everything else is surrounded, is the fact that you take a standard 8-cell AA batteries, and it fits into the rear end of this robot. And you use the little
Clippy-doo.
clip, and it locks the batteries in place.
Call it what it is. It's a clippy-doo.
Clippy-doo. Okay. So we got this little clippy-doo on back there, holds it in place. And okay, we thought it was pretty cool to have something over top of the wheels. We're still using the very standard yellow gearbox motors because they're really cheap. The wheel's really cheap. There's this huge difference between the displays. Flimsy? Not.
Yeah.
Flimsy? Not. Okay, so you guys you gave me all these requirements of how easy it would be to take apart and stuff like that. And he's like, please, let me touch it.
You know me.
Check that out.
Oh, okay.
Now,
So if you
nothing is actually hidden inside of it.
and if you mess up and leave the ping sensor off, you're good to go. You can still get right to it.
All you do is click it. Because you guys were saying, so we met up on Saturday morning, and we were all just writing down things. Hey, what about this? And what about that? And that's when we also took the time to laser out his project. But big ideas that were there was accessibility of all the parts of the Uno, accessibility of every electronic piece that we didn't want to have to take the robot back apart. And as you saw, taking this head off of it was pretty easy.
Now, did you design one of those with the OLED?
Yes, I did, but I didn't
Bring it.
Yeah. Okay, so the OLED looks exactly like this,
Except smaller.
except the head is just a little square section right there, and it has a little hat on it. Okay, it's pretty cool.
I like the back slope is more slopey.
Very
there.
rakish.
There you go. So it
So
is
how much wider is the wheelbase now?
a little over 15 millimeters wider.
Because that
which really is
one
not big.
was wider than the previous version.
Yeah, this one only became, I think, 4 or 8 millimeters total wider and 10 millimeters longer than the original. That is probably 5 millimeters longer and a good 15 or 20 millimeters wider. I know everybody's like, oh yeah, ooh, 20 millimeters, whoop-de-doo.
It's bigger. You can see it.
Check the
It's
stamp.
bigger.
Yeah, it does make a big deal.
So can you put a C-cell size package in here or won't it fit?
I've never measured it. Didn't try.
Well,
Hey,
they're the same as the AA length. So
The goal for this was
the
12 volts. Okay, 12 volts, which means 8 AA batteries.
Okay.
And
Cost?
the cost is another very, very big factor. Because you have to look at who the market is for this. And the market is high school students. So if you've got high school students or beginning robot enthusiasts, beginning college students, you're looking at, especially for the high school, trying to get a robot into their hands that every part of it is symmetrical. So this piece is the same as this piece. The bottom piece can be flipped upside down by accident. Top piece can be flipped upside down by accident. So it's like, cool. Even the top section, it flips. Yeah, it only goes on from the right to the left.
What's your board stack up?
The shield that's on there is actually a motor controller, adapter to get the Bluetooth, and a speaker, servo. It's an all-in-one board. It was really inexpensive, and it eliminated a lot of wiring. Because you could plug in the shield and drop in a program, and you could be beeping instantly. Okay, well, add on the servo. I mean, look how difficult it is to plug in the servo. I mean, yeah, right there.
That's pretty difficult.
The
Motor control.
the I2C is just 4 pins, goes right to there. The motor controller, you can use either the big terminals that's on there, or you can use the 4 pins in a row. And it's really easy. We trying to do good cable management, so we got these, wire goes from here up to the hole, straight there. I left a little bit of prototyping space on both of them. I left space to add the photocells. There's space or clearance under here if they wanted to add line following sensors, but that's next level. So he was asking, what's the price? We're at about $18 for all the parts.
On this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not including the laser time. But
so you're still
that's the bill of materials is $18.
Bill of materials is $18.
So you're still up around $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At $35 total on
Still.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. I mean, when you're
Granted,
that's me buying in bulk. It's instead of like an $8 board, I buy them 100 at a time and I get it for $3. So
it's not bad, but your guy wanted them for less.
Oh yeah, the guy who's we have a guy that's trying to sell these, like a dozen of them, to a startup maker space, and he wants to sell them to the maker space for $55. He wants to buy them from me for $40 or less, and I'm like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if you're saying $18, but it takes 10 to 15 minutes to laser it. If you want to do a decent job, that kit takes an 8-inch by 24-inch section. This one takes 8 by 17 inches section. But that one,
I
barely
probably
had any modification, just kind of clipped together.
I probably missed it. What's the big open holes for?
Get your fingers in there.
For what? There's nothing in there.
Look where the wires go through. Okay, so if you're wanting to be able to put your finger there to push the wires up, it's just finger hole access.
So it's an assembly convenience.
Yes.
It kind of looks neat too. But
that wiggle.
I like the rakish look at the body there.
The reason for the tilt on the body, you can actually see that there are flex lines. They're lasered right into it. And the reason for that tilt is because of the height of the wheels, the height of the body, and we had to get the bearing, the glider bearing, down low enough to keep everything. We didn't want the body to just kind of tilt back because we need the ultrasonics to be pointed in parallel to the table.
I think
Because the way it was working, the ultrasonics were pointed up.
Yeah.
And it was just wrong.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think you found a winner with that one. That one looks
That
nice.
one looks good to me.
I mean, I'm content. My wife is like, "Are you finally ever going to get done with this design?"
No, it never stopped. It never stopped.
The great thing about this one is that you don't have to bend the terminals. Everything fits.
It's
I'm pretty happy
for a beginner. It's a slightly bigger robot. It's easier to get to everything. It looks like it's probably easier to build.
It is.
And
it is. There's only in both of these, there's 6 screws for the whole body. These 2 back here, 2 here, and 2 up here. Now, granted, there's more screws that holds the motors on. There's screws to hold, this here, this here. In total, probably 30 screws. And we're talking every little bitty, tiny, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have just gone with 2 screws there instead of 4. I went ahead and got them all. These 2 screws holding the switch on. I tried to use as few screws as possible, as few standoffs as possible, because I wanted, cutting cost, one thing, because these nylon standoffs, believe it or not, those are freaking expensive.
Well, if there were 100 of you and you'd worked for several weeks, you might be able to knock out 1 or 2 screws. It's one of those things where you look at consumer goods like printers and stuff, and they're minimalistic, but they're that way because there's hundreds of people trying to eliminate something just like 1 screw.
Well, you should see some of my other robot designs.
I was going to say that his early designs,
there's like 80-something screws.
Thousands of screws.
Yeah,
Well, no, I was trying to flatter you in terms of saying you're only one person, and if you've gotten it down to this point, if there were 100 of you, you might be able to knock 1 more screw out.
Decided not to use screws.
Yeah. Besides, Bill Gates is always redesigning his products.
Yeah.
Without.
I've opened a couple of them. You go.
So, I mean, this right here is pretty good.
Yeah, they snap
I
together.
think it's come out pretty good.
And they don't come apart easy.
It has a little bit more of that ergonomic feel because I actually bent the.
They went back to the screws.
I'm happy with that.
With the molds.
Laser handcrafted look.
And a little prototyping.
Laser.
In a little prototyping
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Artisan. He's
I
an
do.
artisan of the laser.
I like the new display ping mount. That's
This right
really
here
cool.
instead of the floppy.
Yeah. This is much more rigid.
Yeah, I like that. My real question is have you tested it yet to see if it actually performs well?
Look, when you left my shop, I spent
finished it
I spent like 3
and I cut
hours.
it out.
Okay, I spent like 3 hours there.
You can put the ultrasound
Then I went
above
home, kissed
and
my
then
kids
stay-
goodbye, and I went to
made it
Maryland
stay like
and
like
North Carolina.
five or
And when I got
six.
back this morning, I drove all night to get back this morning so I could have like 3 hours to finish the design, laser cut it, and assemble it.
Right. You know I'm just picking on you, right?
This
You
From us-
know that, right?
from us kicking this idea back and forth, and me also having a job.
You are a year closer to the final design.
There are probably 4 or 5 tiny little changes
Put that up there.
that
You have the beats here of the mouth. Yes.
there are probably 4 or 5 tiny little changes
You know.
that have already been kind of drawn
You have
on that,
personality.
and they've already been updated in the designs, the drawings. So
So
Drop
it's
a,
still morphing.
just drop a couple of
And it's still
LEDs
changing,
right here,
yeah.
RGBs, and you can light them up, and it looks really cool. It looks really cool. Nothing.
Just
That actually went into my box.
Any chance
I,
you've got a
he,
5-cell lithium battery that you could see if it'll fit in there? It looks like it would.
I don't.
That's 11.4 volts, which is real close.
The
They're cheap.
big thing about this is trying to make it very typical, very standardized
time.
for
I got a lot
high
of junk
school.
going away too.
Okay, 8 minutes left.
Yeah, we don't wanna leave late on your watch.
We
I got a bunch of junk.
when you look at these high schools to say, what batteries do they have accessible? To them, what is standard? You tell these kids, hey, go get me this 11.4 volt lithium 4-cell.
Say what?
You might as well chop their head off. Okay? You say, bring in some AA's. Okay. They're gonna go to mom and say, Mom, what's a AA? Mom's gonna know.
10 years from now, that whatever.
The cool thing about this one is that the whole internal section of the fuselage, if you want to call it that, is adjustable. And this slot can move to here or there, and then back here it has 4 different positions and a dead stop back here. So it'll hold 8 AA's, 8